with the power of Spark and with the power of the Deloitte Google partnership, we showed them something which is talk to data.
Most important thing that as Deloitte we propagate is it's human-centered AI. It's not AI on its own. Done well, it can create magic.
Employees or the workforce of the future start managing an army of agents as against managing armies of humans.
To me, AI is the amplifier that we need. I think humans are going to be at the center of it, no doubt. Hi, this is Ajit Kumar from Deloitte at the AI Forum, and bumped into Vineet from Google. So looking forward to the conversation with Vineet.
Hi, this is Vineet from Google Cloud in India at the Deloitte AI Forum 2026. I lead strategic partnerships for Google Cloud here in India. Lovely bumping into you, Ajit.
Likewise. Always a pleasure, Vineet. So tell me, I mean, we are in the AI Forum. Lots of buzz around AI. I don't think there's any conversation that happens today
Absolutely.
without AI.
Yeah.
So kind of what's your personal take on kind of what's happening and what you're hearing?
Yeah. No, it's an exciting time for us to be in the industry. It's an exciting time for us to be interacting with clients on this subject. Every single business problem that CEOs are looking to solve is now being viewed at as an AI first kind of problem. They are looking at being future ready today by not just looking at innovative solutions, but also trying to really prep themselves in terms of upskilling their own workforce. And I personally feel this is like a once in a generation kind of opportunity. We've heard about cutting edge and bleeding edge, but this is as bleeding edge as can be. Just the sheer pace of innovation that we're seeing, just the sheer buzz, and we heard Romal speak about this earlier today as well. It's also really amazing to see how many business models are actually getting, traditional business models that are getting disrupted with the advent of technology, and even so with Deloitte as well. I mean, as a tech company for us, obviously we are in the business of AI, of technology, but seeing from a distance, it's also amazing to see how quickly Deloitte's kind of made the shift to being like an AI first kind of advisory company in that sense. So how does it feel being at the epicenter of all of this for you?
No, a lot of the same things you said, Vineet. I mean, as Deloitte, like you said, we are really kind of in the epicenter of all the questioning, if you will, because every client comes and along with Google Cloud and others, they want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure, I feel, from their side to say, there's going to be something we'll miss out if we don't do it. And then the frequent question is, where do we start? What do we do? And the expectation is that we know.
Yeah.
And then there's a stark realization on our side is for us to be able to advise, we got to do it ourselves. So a lot of even what we're doing, as you know, is transform internally, do things differently, encourage experimentation. And I lead innovation, as you know, and experimentation is kind of bread and butter for us. And so we're also seeing that very quick evolution from experiment to a POC, and then a lot of POCs, and then doing more of the scaling as things start getting more and more real. And then to your point earlier, that resonates in that there's a lot of reflection on the client side to say, what do we do with our workforce? How do we change our work? What does that mean for our business model? And all of those are changing, which I think is a fascinating period. And just over the last year, we've seen how it's evolved from all about asking questions and like getting some fancy answers to now actually getting at the core of the business.
Of course.
Which is now transforming the way people work. Like our finance agentic workforce right now is transforming the way that CFOs work.
Correct.
That's phenomenal. And we've been working very closely with your team as well on the art of the possible with the Spark platform. In fact, I'd love for you to kind of double click on that as well, in terms of how you're seeing it, because I think that's a fantastic collaboration to showcase the art of the possible for clients.
No, absolutely. I think the Deloitte partnership is one that we are especially proud of globally, and we're seeing significant momentum here in India as well. You touched upon a lot of really pertinent subjects, but I'll probably start with Spark and maybe then dovetail into some of the others. So in every conversation now, I think the buzzword is agentic
Yeah.
in that sense, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you cannot get out of a meeting
Yeah.
without touching upon
Used to
agentic.
be AI, then prompt engineering, and now agent.
Absolutely. So we've gone the entire spectrum, and God knows what's next. But we all know and acknowledge that we're kind of touching that just barely the tip of the iceberg in
Yeah.
terms of everything that can be done, and the possibilities are phenomenal. So, for example, earlier, in the earlier era, we used to say we had, say, RPA, which just used to do stuff. Then we added a thinking layer. Now we are able to actually autonomously have agents take decisions and run on the back of that. And it's amazing to see how Deloitte has taken the early lead in some of in adopting both internally, almost like eating your own dog food of sorts in a sense, transforming your own business, and then using that to take to clients. So the 350 plus kind of accelerators or agents that you're looking at building is really something, and thanks for your collaboration, because a lot of these, actually all of these have been built on Google Cloud. But the ability to put the entire wrapper of the years and years of business knowledge that you have, the deep understanding of sectoral themes, the deep understanding of the current context in terms of market challenges, both at a geo level and at a global level, and putting all of that together into one easy to access, single click to deploy, out of the box kind of agents that you can take to clients, means their time to realize value is shrunk from a matter of months to potentially weeks or potentially days in a sense as well, if you are able to crack the right use case.
It's no longer about slide decks and telling them everything. It's about come and go to Spark and actually witness live what is happening, right?
For example, in the Deloitte Center for Innovation and Technology, or in the Google Cloud Experience Center at the Deloitte USI office, we are actually able to showcase everything. It's show versus tell. So the entire model of showing slideware or showing canned video demos is out of the scene completely. You can actually implement it in a matter of hours in their environment also potentially, and just show it to them. So these days when we're going and talking to CEOs, for example, with Deloitte, what we're doing is we're basically kind of just taking these same use cases with us in our back pocket, and there are some that are easily sort of applicable across industry. Think finance, think supply chain, think HR. These are ones that we are able to literally show it to them in a few clicks. And not just that, I mean, we are able to actually build agents on the fly. So people or stakeholders who've traditionally been tech averse and say, oh, you know what, this is probably not the job of the business. This is probably the job of IT. Today, we are seeing the democratization of AI.
You can see that conviction and belief come in the business.
Exactly.
We can do it.
So they are able to touch and feel. They are able to build it themselves. They are able to actually click and deploy solutions themselves. So, for example, this interesting use case that we had, and this is something that Deloitte and Google were in a meeting together with the CEO of a very, very large company here in India. And the CEO is basically saying, I've got an entire army of folks who just prepare reports for me on an ongoing basis. And every time I see a report, I ask them one question, and they say, oh, you know what, allow us 2 more days, let's go back, let's take a look at the data again and come back. It's super frustrating. So with the power of Spark and with the power of the Deloitte Google partnership, we showed them something which is talk to data, where in natural language, for example, that CEO was able to interact on the fly with his own data grounded in his own enterprise systems, and was able to pull out specific insights. So, for example, he was actually able to say, show me sales for the trailing 3 months. Why is sales declining? What are the top 3 reasons for that? What are the steps that have been taken, and what have been the results of those 3 initiatives? That's so powerful. I mean, so suddenly overnight, you are witnessing this becoming mainstream almost. And we walk out of the meeting with clear direction from the leadership saying, let's just go ahead and do it. The CEO tells his team, figure out a way to do it. It's no longer just,
can you do it?
Can you do it? Do you want to do a POC? We moved away from all of this POC fatigue. Has that been what you're seeing as well?
No, totally. I think lots of times, you're talking about the Google Experience Center, we often see clients come in with a problem in their mind. And then once we show them all of these things, talk to your data, and in one case the health, deep dive on that as well, it suddenly opens up their eyes, and the conversation transforms into a brainstorming session, right? Because it's no longer about, show me this, show me that. It's like, maybe we could do this. And then the nice part of it is the combination of the techies from Google Cloud and our domain experts can actually do it live.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what we've seen, and they walk out of it almost saying, we couldn't even imagine
Correct.
this is possible. And then, that's when you also start having the discussion about, hey, great, that's great, but then the flip side of it is the questions that come on the other side. I'm sure you're seeing this also, is considerations around confidentiality.
Yeah.
And then the key question comes up about data. To say, now if we do this in our environment, what does that mean in terms of where do we have our data sources? Is that clean data?
Correct.
That's obviously a big thing that we always see. And with agentic kind of taking over, there's always this question around how far can it go?
Yeah.
How much do we make it autonomous versus where do we add a human in the loop?
Exactly.
How's trust inbuilt?
Yeah.
Again, I think the partnership there is phenomenal because we have the trust guardrails
For sure.
inbuilt in it, which I think is a very important thing for them.
Yeah.
Because once you kind of open up these possibilities, they all want it. But then it's also important for us to guide them to say, how do we make sure that they do it in a manner that is truly scalable, rather than go too fast and then find out that something's got to be stopped. So I think a lot of those conversations to me are absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it's so we keep talking about responsible AI and ethical AI, and the importance of trust, the importance of guardrails, the importance of human in the loop.
Yeah.
Because as you know, the most important thing that as Deloitte we propagate is it's human-centered AI.
Correct.
It's not AI on its own, because AI basically amplifies what we can do as humans.
As humans, yeah.
And done well, it can create magic. So it's very important to kind of also guide, clients and how we do it ourselves to say, how much do you allow AI to do from an agentic perspective? Where do you add human in the loop? And we keep joking to say at one point in time, people were saying we don't need any testers anymore because AI is going to do everything.
Yeah.
But in this world, I feel like everybody's becoming testers.
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, what we ought to do is to make sure that AI is doing what it was meant to do, because it takes our intention to action very, very quickly. So it's a fascinating world.
Yeah. I think you touched upon something very valid, which was around how do you handle the handoffs between what an agent does and when it is able to actually hand off to a human. How do you bring that human in the loop? What we've seen increasingly is, there is obviously a lot of skepticism and a lot of hesitation to have an agent run everything end to end, even though it can technically do it. I think we're still not at a stage where autonomous workflows end to end can potentially be run in a manner that is completely trusted, in a manner that's secure and reliable. So trying and figuring out, and that's where again, consulting firms like yourselves do it so well, because you are able to understand the end-to-end business process, and you are able to understand where it is that we want to insert the human in the loop. But I think where there's been a significant advancement in how technology works is this whole thing around explainability. So whenever AI is taking any decision, the beauty of this tech right now is leadership at the client's end, and consultants and tech providers like ourselves are able to retrace the path and are able to figure out all of the parameters, all of the decision
the notion of transparency,
right? So that completely adds a whole host of trust to the entire setup. And because these are self-learning systems over a period of time, we are able to also start seeing the whole maturing of these workflows, maturing of these technologies as we go along. Of course, all of this is predicated on context, so garbage in, garbage out in that sense. So I cannot underscore enough to leaders I meet that a fundamental prerequisite for you to be able to leverage this cutting edge technology today is to have a very, very solid data foundation.
Yeah.
Because if you are not having that, I think anything that you do in terms of all of these shiny toys in the market today, you are not going to realize all of the value that it can potentially derive. And I'm not even talking ROI at this point. I'm talking sheer value, because you've gone beyond traditional metrics of ROI in cases of this sort. What we're also seeing is, so there was this interesting research that Google commissioned, where we figured out that an average company touches at least 264 applications in their landscape. It could be internal, it could be third-party applications, but at least 264, which is mind-boggling if you see, right?
Yeah.
There is no real way for all of these applications to talk to each other, because a lot of them have been built on monolithic setups, a lot of them are legacy, some haven't been deprecated but still continue for specific requirements and things like that. So when you have an agent talk through to all of them, you have two conundrums. One is, how do you have the agent be able to connect to each of these systems, and all of these systems that a workflow is actually touching in order to be able to make it fully seamless? And two, because there is a plethora of enterprise systems, a lot of them also come with their own agents in that sense, right? So, for example, every large tech provider that you see in the market today has its own agents.
Their own version,
So the necessity for governance as a layer on top, having that single pane of glass to be able to orchestrate, trigger, manage, monitor all of these agents suddenly becomes very key.
And manage the diversity of technology and agents.
Has that been your experience as well? When you talk to clients?
Completely. And that's a big problem to overcome, which is kind of where it feels exciting, easy, but it's not that easy. It needs some thoughtful as well. Because the other common conversation is around, what's the future of interfaces in that context as well, right? Because to the extent that each one of them have their own agentic architecture and their own technology, each one of them have mostly their own user interface as well. Now you really don't want to go from one interface to another interface to another interface. My hypothesis on that, Vineet, is that eventually it's going to be a disappearing interface, right? So hopefully this intelligence era is going to
obliterate all of that.
Really make the interface irrelevant, because the intelligence is all inbuilt, and then the flow seamlessly from a screen to maybe a humanoid to a machine to applications, hopefully will be so seamless that eventually we can focus on what we do truly as human beings, which is interact and communicate like the way we are doing. Life would be so much simpler rather than, do I touch the screen, do I type something, do I speak something? And I increasingly see a world where hopefully this era is going to bring a lot more intuitive communication. And it's clearly the era of intent to outcomes for sure. So I think the possibilities are immense. As an innovation leader, I'm super excited.
No, I think as Deloitte and Google are going to market as well, the whole proposition that we are also taking around democratization of AI is to have, say, something like a Gemini be the front door to everything AI in the enterprise. So all of your disparate interfaces, all of your disparate systems just fade away in the background. We're not saying get rid of all of them. I mean, that's not practical. But they all fade away in the background, and tech becomes so invisible, so frictionless, that it's almost akin to just talking in natural language and triggering agents, triggering actions, getting insights, getting search, getting summarization done in a way that's akin to Ajit and Vineet talking to each other today, right? So the vision that the Deloitte Google partnership has of the future is for employees or the workforce of the future, which is an increasingly young workforce, to start managing an army of agents as against managing armies of humans, right? So what that also means is you do need to find a way to make technology so seamless and so friction free in order for them to be able to adopt it very quickly. So the whole aspect around AI literacy, increasingly with the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever you're calling it these days, coming into the workforce, the way we used to use technology and enterprise systems versus the way that they are digital first. I have a 7-year-old at home, and the little one just knows how to operate the phone, as if he was born with it, right? I mean, it's like his 6th finger or something like that. So that's how he's using it, right? And it's mind-boggling. So to see them get into the workforce, to see them interact with AI systems that we are building for them, really means that we need to undercomplicate or simplify things, and we just need to make it almost like an extension of their lives, so that we take away all the mundane, the routine activities, the jobs as they exist today, to evolve into a role or roles that require us to interact more as humans, and do a lot more thinking based on inputs that we get from AI.
Exactly, and that actually then allows humans to be what they do best, which is think. Right, and to your point, when everybody's spending a lot of time with agents, which are doing most of the mundane work, we can actually redeploy those people that were doing that mundane work to actually think. So, whenever that question about what's AI going to do to the human workforce, I always feel like we haven't solved like 99.9% of the problems we can solve, if only we had time to think and time away from that mundane activity. I'm always hopeful that this era is going to actually free up our time when we do our jobs well as Deloitte and Google, to enable that seamless workflow. For people to now look at a world where we can solve more problems than we ever have.
And speaking of problems, Ajit, are there a couple of interesting examples that come to mind in terms of some really cutting edge, innovative applications that you've seen in the real world across industries?
We've seen a lot in the drug discovery area. I think that one's doing phenomenally well in terms of the time it takes to go from a thought to an actual drug. Is phenomenally accelerated, and that takes a lot of steps, right? It's not as simple as it involves R&D, it involves clinical trials, it involves patient care, etc., etc. So I think that's one where we're increasingly seeing that diminishing rapidly. So from a use case perspective, definitely seeing a lot in the life sciences area around drug discovery. Because drug discovery is complex. It involves R&D, involves clinical trials, involves patient care, and a lot of tests, because it is a very crucial thing. And we're seeing tremendous amount of acceleration from a drug discovery perspective. We have, of course, an agentic solution to support with that, as well as other solutions. We call it the Converge suite of products. That's tremendous in terms of adoption of AI in a lot of different areas. The other one we're seeing a lot in is in the what we call as intelligent operations, smart manufacturing in the manufacturing segment, increasing use of physical AI more than ever. Because I think earlier the use of physical AI was impeded by the fact that there was too much of interactions going on between human and that. But now with the intelligence layer, it's a lot more seamless. And the emergence of a lot of different form factors in that, which can reach places it couldn't reach before. So I think those are areas which are very fast, catching up with more mature cycles. I'm sure you're seeing quite a few as well.
No, absolutely. I think if you think about it, every single industry is kind of being disrupted in that sense, right? So the use cases, the examples are endless. But if I were to think about it, customer service as a horizontal competency, the amount of disruption that we're seeing and the amount of value that agents are being able to bring to customer service, and to bring empathy, do sentiment analysis, reacting to interactions the way a human would do is fascinating. The other thing that we're seeing as a sectoral theme overall is, if you look at these new age startups or digital native kind of companies, we're seeing them take to this technology like a fish to water. So what they're also doing is, they pretty much, just like everybody has an office productivity license or an office productivity suite, and that's what comes bundled with your laptop on day one when you join. It's almost akin to them giving an AI license or an agentic kind of solution to them, to every single employee, and saying, play around with it, go crazy, build your own agents, if you will, deploy agents from what's available in the enterprise. And suddenly you're seeing the adoption curve spike up significantly. So the average usage of this technology that we're seeing in these new age companies, and they're pretty much like the trendsetters in terms of how quickly they're adopting, right? So we're seeing a lot in that. We're seeing India, for example, is like the IT hub of the world. So if you see all of these large IT companies that are disrupting their own business models, in terms of coding, in terms of client delivery, it's staggering, and the volumes and the time that they're spending shrinks by a factor of several times, multiples, right? So and that's straight is a hit on is a positive impact on the bottom line. So adoption, I think, is not going to be a concern at all. What I do think is something that all of us collectively need to kind of shore up, is how we are able to have these conversations that empower clients of joint clients of ourselves to be able to hit the ground running and accelerate time to value, as against trying and getting into this entire trap of the whole POC fatigue cycle needs to go away, and we just need to try it
show real business value
in the real world,
and which we are doing.
Yeah, it's such exciting times we're living in. I mean, I can't even wait to see what the future holds. What's your crystal ball gaze into the next 6 to 9 months?
I think it's going to be a whole different world, Vineet. I'm super excited. In fact, for my children as well, I keep telling them it's a phenomenal time for them to be, because for them to see this level of change and the variety of choices they get is amazing. To me, AI is the amplifier that we need. I think humans are going to be at the center of it, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm excited by the fact that it's really going to allow us as humans to showcase what we're really good at, which is solving problems.
Absolutely.
So this is a world where we can solve a lot of problems.
Yeah. No, I think I would agree as well. I think our view of technology going forward is a world where we have a lot more time to solve planet scale problems, and a lot less time being spent on routine, repetitive, mundane activities. And as we pick out new challenges, new problems to solve, we have enough and more information on our hands, so that can truly unleash a lot of our creativity, and that can truly create impact that is far-reaching beyond the sphere of influence that we traditionally operate in. So I'm really enthused. There has never been a better time to be in this space, and really looking forward to taking our partnership to the next level.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to Google and Deloitte doing a lot of phenomenal things together.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Pleasure talking to you. Pleasure.